Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy MKS here, back with part 3 of this video. Hope everyone's doing well. I think what else to say for the intro. I always have this bad habit of filling my tea too high, so I tend to spill it, and I'm very clumsy as well. But anyway, I think that's it. Possibly this practice tray, I'm not sure. So yeah, without further ado, I'll get the list to you. Yeah, I might walk my dog in a bit, so because it's about 11 o'clock here in the UK, just past 11 o'clock, so it's roughly about time I take the dog for a walk, between 11 or 12. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, back to list 21. By the way, if anyone's stumbled across this video, as I have to say, please check out part 1 and part 2, because then this will hopefully make more sense, or at least as much sense as possible. 21, I generally say the same 21 again, so when I think of lists, I often think of things that symbolize other things. And sorry, 21, I hope to recap some of the things like some of the old ethics, and also recap some of the thoughts about why we support countries that were colonized, like India, how I feel that money was robbed from India, so and also Indians were treated very badly. So I'd love to support. I love to encourage people all around the world to support India, as I often talk about, in my opinion, being the J word, which is just stands for justice. And I believe it would be just for India to become richest country, because before it was, dare I say, robbed, colonized, whatever you want to call it, as I would see it, robbed. Before it was stolen from, the people killed, trespassed upon, murdered, and all that sort of horrible stuff. India was apparently the richest country in the world, and so, as I say, India, South Africa went through apartheid. So I believed in trying to, as I might put it, right some of those wrongs, if you like. In South Africa, I mainly love to support people of colour, generally, mixed race, black and Asian people, but also perhaps groups that integrate more. So it could be people who live in the new South Africa, if you like, but they might be white people, but they're willing to integrate. Like, I wouldn't want to fund places where they're separatists, like I think it's Orania, or certain Afrikaner groups who want to own South Africa, or possibly Boers or people like that who don't want to integrate with other people. Mainly I'd want to support the indigenous people and what they call coloured, which are mixed race people, and Asian people, and also diverse groups. If I could fund race for them, that's what I'd love to do. Yeah, so supporting what I call the four, which I have to keep mentioning. 22, I hope to look at how my ethics have changed over time. I don't think they've changed that much, but maybe if I remember, some of them might have changed a little bit over time. Something I used to believe in that perhaps I don't agree with or believe in today. 23, I hope to look at fundraising to support the poorest 10% of people in the world, but I'm not a socialist or a communist, so I'm a libertarian, but I hope to encourage people and possibly have it in education from a young age. So I'm not a big fan of higher taxes or more force or control, telling people what to do with their money or their body or whatever else. As much as possible, I'll try and give people as much freedom as I can, because I suppose I love freedom quite a lot, and I wish there was more of it. Which is quite a dilemma, being unemployed for so long. Some people might say, if it wasn't, well, a lot of people might say, most people might say, nearly everyone might say, if it wasn't for the tax system, I dare say my dad's a big Labour supporter, so he's on the campaign trail for Labour, but I don't think I'll be voting this year. And I certainly don't agree with all their policies. I think they do have some good policies. For those outside the country, I'm sure most people know who the Labour Party is, but they're sort of the British equivalent of the Democrat Party, I suppose, in America. That's the equivalent. That's the easiest way to explain it, I suppose. To be honest, I don't believe in things like universal income. I do believe in trying to encourage people to do their best, to work to their best of their ability. I'm not a hard working person myself, I must admit, as I've said before, but I like to try and work smart, but I do like to try and do things. I like to try and write and think, even though my punctuation is terrible, which another video I can make is like my terrible punctuation, which many people will probably notice even just from the titles of these videos, and also what I write in the comment section. Hopefully YouTube videos can help me to express myself more, but I still like to write and keep my mind active and keep doing things if I can. As I say, smart work rather than hard work, but I don't see it as laziness or whatever. But I would love to fundraise for the poor too, but also to support, say, entrepreneurship in poorer places like the Dalits of India, to support them to become entrepreneurs so that they can become financially independent, but also not just give them money, but help them to work to the best of their ability, to become entrepreneurial and learn about business and learn about the law, and so they can improve their life, not just give them money for the sake of giving them money. Yeah, so I'd love to fundraise for people, but not, and also to look at how to cut taxes, but have more charity instead of tax, in my opinion. So I know it's a controversial opinion, but it's my opinion anyway. So yeah, I think that covers point 23 for now. A libertarian way, but a way where we teach children from a young age to be to care for each other and to push each other to do our best and things like that. And I hope to encourage that around the world, really. And I'd actually offer more tax cuts for support people. Like, say, for instance, if you support African software engineers or people from African technology generally, then we can look at how to that can be a way, like we can offer tax cuts for big tech companies to invest in Africa, things like that, and train up people from Africa. So you're helping people from Africa, but you're not doing it by force, and you're actually cutting tax for the big tech companies. All their tax money could go. I've often thought, like, imagine if all the tax money from all the big tech companies like Microsoft, IBM, and so forth, Oracle and whatnot, could go towards supporting schools and development training for people in Africa, including in software and all the areas of tech, including game making and things like that. And that, yeah, all the tax money they could go, and that would effectively come back to them. But it would also help people in Africa or across Africa, because as many parts of Africa as possible, because the tech and Africa could unite via tech, but the big tech companies, whatever tax they pay going to Africa, I would say it would help those tech companies, because that money that they use for tech in their taxes would be used to train people who in turn could do good work for those tech companies, but at the same time help people from Africa, including possibly people from poorer backgrounds. And if they do well, they could train up other Africans, possibly to believe in Africa, believe in African tech, so believe that Africa can do well in tech. All the things that people say about Africa being stupid or lazy or thick or dumb, they can prove it wrong by supporting African tech. Yeah, that kind of thing. 24, I hope to support democracies and colonized countries. 25, hope to support republics, again, to help them network, to fundraise for them. To have an acknowledgement of their entrepreneurs and people who have contributed to each republic. Share their YouTube channels, share their YouTube, like Republic Day in India, and what ideas they can share with each other. Like, does Republic Day actually benefit India financially? And if so, could other countries that are republics do the same? Could all republics do the same? And also they could host network events where they visit each other's countries and do trade together and that kind of thing. So support each other in all possible ways. 26, again, hope to support colonized countries and hope to think of ideas each well, pretty much every day, but especially on Saturdays, talk about reasons to support those countries and things like that. 27 hope to help people, like if people help technology in Africa, to acknowledge them and list them, and they will have like good PR for doing so. So hopefully that'll be their reward. Godspeed. So I really hope that Africa can be supported in technology as a continent and work together. As I've talked about before, all 54 countries with 1 billion or more people, and one of the, possibly, I think it's the fastest growing population-wise continent. It's the fastest growing continent population-wise, and it's also an area where there's actually growth and much more optimism than there used to be. So I hope Africans will work together, support each other to keep that optimism going and work together. 28, I hope to turn negative situations into positives. Like I said before about supporting dyslexic people from, let's say, what I call the four. So something that's seen as a negative a lot of times, dyslexia or neurodiverse conditions like autism, ADHD, and so forth. And also, and those conditions actually helping those developing countries, and colonized countries and so forth. Dare I say, I also hope to help countries like Iraq. Like I wish I could look at how much the effects, the adverse effects on Iraq from the Iraq War. If I could fundraise, like say oil, if people say oil was robbed out of Iraq, taken out by force and all that, basically. I wish I could look at how much money that would have made Iraq in today's money and actually give them that much money back plus 10% interest. Also to make up for lots of people that are killed there, to literally rebuild Iraq, as in buildings, to fundraise for buildings like anti-imperial centers, enterprise centers, entrepreneurial centers, investment centers, training centers, de-radicalization centers, training centers, and all sorts of things like that, as many buildings as possible, to help to all those buildings that were destroyed in Iraq, and that kind of thing. As I call it, making positives from negatives and things like that. To support groups in Iraq like women and disabled people and poor people and so forth, poor people generally. So I think now, so 29 is this group I often wanted to make in the past. I've sort of forgot about it now with my other projects or ideas, or as I like to call them, our projects and ideas, because I hope to network with people. But yeah, these groups of people, like people from Eurasian countries, Eurasian nation, transcontinental countries generally, the Mideast and the Mediterranean, working together on human rights, animal rights, and things like that, and possibly investing together, helping each other practice sport, having sports events, friendship events, and things like that. And also people like class as olive skin, which are like people from those, pretty much people from those four countries four regions I just mentioned, like Eurasian, transcontinental generally, Mideastern and Mediterranean countries, and also like Anglo-Indians like myself, people basically who are generally tanned, or from a background which is generally tanned, and also what I call part olive skin, which is like people who have a parent or a grandparent who's olive skin, like for instance someone who's got a parent or grandparent who's Italian, but the rest of the family might be Dutch or English or German or African or whatever, but I would class them as part olive skin. Or have these strange terms like olive, short for olive skin, but anywho, I know I've got a strange way of thinking, but yes, and also mixed race and learning disabled people, like creating those groups if I could. I'd love to get those groups to work together, network together, and all that. And 30, I hope to do as many other things as I can, and only say TBC, which stands for to be continued. So anyway, I hope this video wasn't too long or boring or anything like that. I hope someone out there will enjoy it, as I often say. I really appreciate your support. And ASAP, I'm hoping to do, like, as I say, the groups I think should support my YouTube channel with all my quirks and all that. Peace and love.